The Roush Performance 3-inch catback you see here today with the wide tips will be available for any 2010 to 2014 Raptor owner who might be looking to give their beefy 6.2-liter motor the sound that it deserves. Now this particular catback from Roush Performance is going to give you a very deep muscular growl that is definitely loud enough to wake the neighbors, especially on a cold start morning. Now one thing about this kit is it does not go too overboard as far as drone on the highway, unlike some of the other kits, so if you're looking for some good volume with a deep growl, this is definitely geared in your direction without the excess drone. Now on top of that, it does come with some mid-level equipment and again a mid-level price at that. Expect a $700 mark with this particular kit and some 409 stainless steel, which we'll touch on in just a bit. I'm gonna let you guys know up front here, full disclosure, depending on your cab size and bed length, you might have to make a single slice into the extension pipe here to make it fit your application. Now in some cases that might be necessary, some cases it might not be. Either way, I am still gonna give it a 1 out of 3 wrenches on our difficulty meter because it still should be very straightforward. So obviously taking a look at an exhaust, the first thing you wanna break down is gonna be the sound. Now as far as the excitement for power to excitement for sound ratio goes on the 6.2 Raptors, the sound is really lacking in that department. When you throw this catback into the mist, you can liven things up, give the 6.2 motor the sound that it deserves without going way over the top. What I mean by that is when you kickstart this thing up, you're definitely going to get a very deep and muscular growl at idle, letting people know it's an aftermarket exhaust without being too, wake the neighbors-y. Now, I'll touch on that in just a second, but as far as getting into traffic, definitely expect something of a muscle car growl with a throaty tone and just a hint of rasp maybe. Once you hit the highway, expect just a little bit of drone, but nothing too overwhelming like a Flowmaster Outlaw would produce. With that said, it leads me to the 4 out of 5 on our loudness meter that I'm going to give this particular catback for a rating. Now the reason I give it a 4 out of 5 is because the volume's all there, but it's just lacking that little bit of drone that would set it off for a 5 out of 5. So it's definitely going to be geared for the guys looking for that volume without that over-the-top wake your neighbors tone that the Flowmaster Outlaw or the Borla Attack would produce. As far as materials and construction is concerned, you should expect some mid-level stuff as far as quality. This does have a 409 stainless steel, which is very durable, it does hold its own, and it does extend the lifetime over something like an aluminized steel, but it might not last as long as something like a 304 stainless. Now with that said, it does carry a 3-inch diameter tubing from head to toe with mandrel bends, increased airflow, it does have a free-flowing design from Roush's manufacturing. Now on top of that, you're getting this bullet-style muffler to help with the sound, a Y-pipe style exit, which is going to have the single rear exit design with 2 tailpipe tips. These are 3.5-inch T304 stainless steel polished tips, which just gives it an attractive finish out the rear end with the Roush logo embedded on top. As far as the price tag is concerned, personally I was expecting the Roush name with an exhaust product to carry a top-end Spectrum price tag, but not really the case here. It does carry a mid-level grade quality with a mid-level price tag. So right around the $700 mark, you can pick this one up for yourself with the single rear exit design and a Y-pipe exit. Now, in addition to that, if you're looking for something with a higher quality material, expect to be carrying a tougher price tag for you, but you definitely get what you pay for as far as quality and materials. On top of that, if you're looking for a different kind of sound or a different exit style, there are tons of options available ranging from the loudest Corsa Extreme, Borla Attack, Flowmaster Outlaw, to some of the more simpler stuff like an MBRP installer series. Definitely depends on your price tag preference and your sound preference. Shifting over to the install portion of the video, as I mentioned in the very beginning, 1 out of 3 wrenches on our difficulty meter here. It really is a straightforward process. However, it may require you to make 1 single slice into our extension pipe depending on your cab and bed length size. Now that is all detailed for you in the instruction manual and you can use the cutting tool of your choice. Shouldn't take you very long, but do remember if you have to do it, measure twice, cut once. With that out of the way, I am still going to give it a 1 out of 3 wrenches. Shouldn't take you longer than an hour or 2 from start to finish, and make sure you have a ratchet and socket set on deck as well. Removing the factory system really is a no-brainer. Just have that ratchet and socket set handy. You can get under the vehicle once you jack it up on jack stands or put it up on a lift, depending on what you have access to. With it up in the air, just unclamp or unbolt the flanges from the mid-pipe, drop that down, and then unclamp all piping back to the tailpipe tip. Once that's taken care of, set all that stuff aside because you have new hardware provided for you in the kit from Roush. Once you have everything out of the way, you can pop back up the extension pipe after or before you cut, depending on whether or not you need to. Once you have that up, connect it using the flange provided for you in the kit to the mid pipe, work your way back to the Y pipe, and then of course attach both tips to the Y pipe connector. All clamps will be clamped down very simply with your hand tools, of course. 1 out of 3 wrenches on our difficulty meter, and then 1 to 2 hours start to finish. And with that said, I'm gonna wrap this thing up here. If you're the owner of a 10 to 14 6.2 liter Raptor, you might be looking for a way to give that monster the sound it deserves with a muscle car growl that's throaty, deep, just a little bit of raspiness, but without going too overboard on drone. That sounds like something you're looking for and you want to stay in the mid-level price range. Check out the Roush Performance 3-inch Cat-Back Exhaust with a single rear exit design and 2 Y-pipe tips, which is available right here at AmericanMuscle.com.